Hi, I'm Sarah Chapman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Media Burn Independent Video Archive.
And I'm Tom Weinberg, and I was the founder of the archive. So Media Burn was started as a term that I made up in 1971, and it had to do with the idea that because people are on TV, their images changed how they acted and who they were and their identity. The most famous use came a few years later when the ant farm, and I was involved in it in San Francisco, did an art event which drove a specially equipped Cadillac through a wall of burning television sets. And that image, as we said at the time, that image has lived on forever. And that's probably the best known name. When it came time to do the archive, figured that the most representative kind of term name that we had was Media Burn, and the ant farm was fine with that, and I was fine with that, and that's kind of where it came from. Now you run the Media Burn archive. You're the executive director of it. How do you get the money? How do we get the money?
Well, a large part of our funding comes from government and foundation contributors. The Gaylord and Dorothy Donnelly Foundation has been our biggest supporter over the last 6 years or so. We're currently in process in a 3-year grant with them. We've also gotten some significant government funding. We currently are doing an NHPRC grant, which is the funding wing of the National Archives. And last year we had a grant through the National Endowment for the Humanities through the Save America's Treasures program, which was a major honor to be recognized as among the national treasures. And a large part of our funding comes from individuals as well. Individual donors make up a very significant part of our funding.
What we have in the archive is entirely videotapes. There's no film. So it starts with the beginning of portable video, which was about 1970 or so, and goes right up until well into the 21st century. As we moved along, it became very clear that all the videotapes that we had were going to die, and that unless they were preserved in the best possible way, that history and that culture and all of it would be gone and lost. And I felt very strongly that it needed to be out there. It needed to be seen. Well, that fortunately corresponded, in a sense, to the same time that video was capable of going on the internet, and that was like it was like 2001 or something, right? And so obviously the best way to do it was to digitize the videos, put them into a format, into a way that they could be watched, and to put them on the internet so that the whole world can see them for nothing.
The collection that we have is unique. It's unlike any other collections, first of all, because we have a large amount of raw footage. So while we have great documentaries, we also have 50 or 60 hours that go into the production of the documentary. For example, Tom made a fantastic documentary called Vito in 1978, and it's excellent. But if you really want to learn about Chicago, one of the ways that I delved most deeply into Chicago and what it's really like was through watching hours and hours of Vito Marzullo, just the parade coming into his ward office, asking him for favors, asking him for jobs, seeing the way he gets business done, and watching several hours with him wearing a wireless microphone in the Chicago City Council.
You appoint Medley chairman of the Board of Election Commission. I'll have my father vote for the ERA in Springfield.
Oh, that was a good one.
These types of learning experiences, research experiences, can really only come from that sort of in-depth type of footage, and it's the type of footage that only exists in a single copy. It only exists in the hands of the filmmaker or the video maker, and it needs to be saved.
Don't forget Saturday now. You're going to be at the wedding. My daughter's wedding. And it's right in your ward. You got no beefs.
Geez, I better mark that down so I don't forget. Be there.
You know, you better be there early Monday too, because that place is going to be a zoo. Especially with what. No, you better be there to help me now. Don't give me no
Don't
shit.
worry, we're cutting down short.
Oh, there's going to be a zoo here.
Another collection that we have that I think is very important is we have several hundred videotapes documenting the 1992 election, both in Chicago and around the country, produced for a show that you produced called The 90s. There were crews all over the country documenting the Clinton campaign as well as the Tsongas campaign and Jerry Brown. And we have several...
As much access as we could get to George Bush at the time.
Right, because he was president. But so this collection of several hundred videotapes was shot on a format called high 8mm, which is very, very fragile format. And these are some of the most endangered tapes in our collection, even though they were less than 20 years old.
He's been getting better at these events. It's amazing.
He's either getting better or we're getting better. But both. No, he's getting much better. He's very, very good.
And we got a grant from the Save America's Treasures program to preserve them. And I think this collection is significant because of the breadth and volume. I think that you guys were there at every single event, and because of your unique sort of goals and methodology, where if the candidate's going to come in and he's going to sit here and all the cameras are pointing here, lots of times your cameras would be pointing here at those cameras to see what the room was like and to show what a candidate appearance is rather than the candidate appearance itself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Lights, thank you. Thank you.
His debate book is on the cover of the New York Times today. Stuff.
What matters is that the videos have a life for whatever purpose. We don't know. You know, you have a book, it stays around for hundreds of years. Video wouldn't stay around for hundreds of years. Video is going to die in 5, 10, 15, 20 years of when it's produced. So if you think it's important, in order to preserve it and keep it, you have to do that.
Yeah, I think one of the most heartbreaking things for me has been when I started here in 2003, just logging and watching tapes. There are tapes that I logged in 2003 and 2004 that I pull off the shelf now and I try to play, and they don't play anymore. And that is just happening more and more as time passes, and it's incredibly urgent to transfer these videotapes before they're gone.
And at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, we have about more than 6,000 videos in this room. More than 2,000 at this point are online, have been preserved, and have been digitized. And those are completely capable of being transcoded and used in different ways over, hopefully, forever.
Today isn't so bad. It could be a lot worse, but tomorrow is going to be great. You know, and tomorrow never comes. Because you see, by the time tomorrow comes, it's today. So it's the worst it could be is it's pretty good. And if it doesn't come, that would be terrible. In other words, I've had enough problems physically to recognize that it's just great to be around.
You know my theory? Never be too serious in news. Make people think, make them laugh. Use creative tensions. Oh well, why not let people feel good once in a while? Half the news you tell them about is people getting killed and churches burning in Georgia.
I like to put it to delight in life. You know, this sounds like a goddamn, you know, this sounds like a Sunday morning philosophy, you know. But when somebody stops me on the street, here's a great experience. A stranger says, Jesus Christ, I read that book working. I'll never again talk to a telephone operator that same way I did before. I'll never treat a waitress the same way, or look at a truck driver the same way. He says, you changed the way I think about these people. But that's pretty good. I like that, you know.
That's a time capsule. of life and of culture and of history and of people and of characters. And so, in our case, particularly in Chicago, but not limited to Chicago. So it seemed that the content was something nobody could get anywhere else.
They do some business last night?
Oh yeah, we have business at night, daytime. We have business all the time in this place. This is a business corner. Cause they got the love on this corner.
What's that, Al?
Huh?
What's that?
Love and Al, that's me.
How you feeling?
Oh, I feel fine. I just left the family. And they told me to come on down here and try to make some money another day for them, where they could live again. Told them I have to do it. 3 little girls and 1 little boy and 1 wife.
This is history, and this is a moment. And the videos capture our lives in a way that nothing else ever has before.